And I think there's not a lot of, or I should say, I don't see a lot of examples of men talking about like I did a year of therapy, and I'm healing, and I've got a photo of my 5-year-old self on my phone, and I'm
Yeah.
healing. I
Cool.
don't hear a lot of men talking like that. Not saying I'm better than or more emotionally evolved or something. I just think I'm doing my best to be an example to show other men that it's okay, and other women that it's also okay to be with men who want to do that. Because I think what I've learned from my personal experience of writing The Mask of Masculinity, going on tour, talking about these topics of kind of men being more vulnerable, men healing, men talking about their emotions, men expressing themselves in vulnerable ways and sharing their shame, which when I grew up was not a thing that you were allowed to do as a boy or a man.
Right.
It was really looked down upon and made fun of, called all the names that, you're called to make you look weak. And it's funny, I remember in my last relationship crying one time, being like very vulnerable,
Mm.
and my girlfriend being like, not being able to handle it. Like she couldn't
Oh, wow.
handle me crying, and she was like, "It just looks like you're really weak." Like I know that's the wrong thing to say, but that's how I feel because it's how I've been
Mm.
conditioned.
Yeah.
It's how I've been conditioned that crying. So she never cried,
Of
right?
course.
She didn't cry because she thought it made you're weak. And I was just like, well, I'm gonna keep open. If I feel something, I'm gonna express it. It's not like I was crying all the time, but there was a few moments when we were going through some tough stuff, and I was just like, here's what I'm going through. What I've witnessed is a lot of women saying they want their male partner to be vulnerable and sensitive and be more emotionally flexible, and yet when the man is finally like, okay, I'm gonna reveal this, I'm gonna talk about my shame, and I'm gonna allow myself to cry in front of my wife or my girlfriend or whatever, my partner. I have heard the men tell me that when I did that, the woman shut down, like their partner shut down. They couldn't handle it. They're like, well, I'm freaking out right now, so I need you to be strong. So I'm just trying to do my best to express myself that way
Sure.
and to take down the stereotypes that you can't have a photo of your inner child, and do these things as a guy with a platform. So that's what I'm just trying to do my best, and as I figure it out.
To live by example. You do an
Yeah,
incredible job of that. I thank you.
thank you,
I thank
appreciate it
you. It's the reason why, my boyfriend's like, he's a great, I've heard great things. He seems like a great guy. Let's have dinner with him.
for sure.
Because you're willing to go there. And he's a very emotionally intelligent and aware guy
Oh, that's good.
himself. So, what do you think? Like, this is more of like a curiosity because depending on who you listen to or talk to, or even what you think. I mean, people like Jordan Peterson and stuff, it's like a man should be a man. And there's other people that talk about this too. But
Hmm.
like, I do think that there's a difference between men and women. I don't think that they're all identical, but I think there's some generalities of like, things that your one is a little better at than the other.
Absolutely.
And that it's not about like in this game of like equality, and it's not to me about it's about equality, and it's not about like patriarchy shifts into matriarchy. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for this sort of um opportunity where we each shine in our own ways, which might mean more than the other in some ways, but looking at each other across genders or roles with gratitude and respect,
Hmm.
that no matter what that is, it's not better or worse, and that we all need what we're good at. And when
Absolutely.
we can embrace what we're each good at, then we become a better version of the human race becomes a better
Absolutely.
version of itself. It's no
Yeah.
longer, it's not in a contraction mode, it's in an expansion mode. So
Hmm.
what is it, I'm curious, what is it that you think a role is for men that you
Mm.
believe in your heart, and perhaps even for a woman, what you think a woman does the best at or is really shines at?
When we figure out what our vision is and what our goals are, then we can figure out how to get there easier. When we are unclear on what our vision is for our life, then it's going to be unclear on what our roles and responsibilities are, from my
Mm-hmm.
experience. I speak from an athletic background point of view, mostly in team sports. You're more of an individual sport, although you had a team.
Mm-hmm.
working with you, but you were the driver in the car. There wasn't like 5 people in the car, doing that, but you had a team. And I think of basketball, it's like it's 5 guys on a court, and I'm not going to go up against Shaquille O'Neal because that's not my role. I'm not a 7-foot, beast that can take him on at a center position. My role would be more of a shooting guard because of my uniqueness, my skills, my talents, my physicality, all those things. And if our object of me playing basketball on a team was to win the championship, that was the vision. We're here to play. We're here to win this game. Not saying that you need to win or lose in life, but for the context of this story, you're going to put your teammates in the best position, in the best roles possible in order to go up against the challenges of life.
Yeah.
Whatever the challenges of that the other team you're playing against or the challenges of life that you're going up against as a partnership in a relationship. Mm-hmm. The thing that I love about my girlfriend, Martha, is that she has a model of her parents have been married for 40 years. And unless they're fooling all of us, they seem like they're incredibly in love. They are joking and are playful and loving and kind to one another. They're not, passive aggressive and angry and dismissive. There's this, but her mother has a specific role that she plays in the relationship that she loves to play that role because she's more talented, more skilled, and a better fit for than her husband. Her husband plays a different role that has his unique skill sets, his unique talents that line up and partner up in a powerful way where they respect each of their roles, just like I would respect someone like Shaquille O'Neal on my team. I couldn't act like I could have those skills because I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not that skilled type of a player in basketball. I have different talents. And hopefully he would be able to respect my skill set on a basketball court. And in my relationship, she loves the skill set and the role that I play in our relation, in my life, in my business, and in our relationship. And she loves the role she plays in our partnership as well, because we have come together when we started dating, and I said, "This is what I want. This is my vision for my life. This is what I see my life becoming in the future. This is everything I did in my past where I messed up and made mistakes. I'm going to reveal everything to you. This is where I'm at now, and this is where I'm heading in the future. I'm very clear on my vision for my relationship future, what I want based on this season of life." And she said, "This is what I want, and here are my values and my vision." We did exercises. We went to Sedona, and I said, "Let's do an exercise where you write on a piece of paper all your values, everything that matters to you. I'm going to write, on my piece of paper in my journal, all the things that matter to me. And then we're going to come unbiased together and see if they match up." About 90% of them matched up from the things we wanted to do, how we wanted to live our life, our lifestyle, like all these different things. And the things that didn't line up, I go, are these deal breakers for us?
Sure.
Is this super important for you and you need to have this? And if I don't care about that, are you okay with it? And there were no deal breakers in terms of the 10% of things that weren't on the same. They were very similar to what we had already talked about. So I said, even with that, we still may not work out. Even though our values are lined up and our vision seems to be lined up, time will tell over time if we can play well as a team. Just like in basketball, you got to play well as teammates in order to see if you can accomplish the goals that you have for that season. And so, and that takes, in my opinion, I use everything with sports analogies, having a great coach. And me having a great coach of my mind and my emotions and my health, and her having a great coach of her mind, her emotions, and her health, where we are both accountable to our work ethic, our energy, our attitude. On a basketball team, I've been on teams where some of the guys are incredible freaks of nature, talented beyond belief, could jump out of the gym, dunk, shoot, run so fast, way better athletes than me, but had horrible work ethic, horrible attitude, and didn't work together as a team. they were selfish, they wanted these things. So they went from starters to on the bench, to being a distraction on the bench, to being kicked off the team, even though they were the best athlete on the team.
Let that be a lesson.
So you've got to be willing to, if you're going to be in a relationship, you're talking to a guy who's failed at every relationship because they've all ended, and has learned, because I chose these certain relationships and didn't step up to my boundaries, and I kept trying when it wasn't the right fit, because I didn't communicate my values and my vision early on, and I stayed in for the wrong reasons. So I take full responsibility. Now with that wisdom and that clarity, it's easier for me to see it looking back, because I've gone through that much pain and frustration for myself. But it's because I have a coach, a therapist, who's allowed me to go through multiple exercises, just like you're talking about, and experience it and be like, okay, well, moving forward, what is it that I really need? I need to play my role, my part, and be clear on my values and my vision and lifestyle. And if the other person isn't aligned, then there's nothing wrong with that person. We're just not the right fit. So don't get committed in the first place.
Right.
And
like you got vulnerable early, and you're just like, look, okay, instead of carrying on and abandoning yourself, which is what ends up happening by going, oh, we'll just see. It's like you kind of stepped up to the plate and went, okay, I really like you. I know we're 6 months in, but here is like my boundaries.
I did that like 2.5 months. Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. Here's something.
You might lose them. And that's the game, right? You might.
And being okay.
Push things along.
Exactly. And I think I was never okay with like losing something.
Yeah.
And losing the person, losing them loving me, and the connection and the friendship we built, because if it doesn't work out, then maybe we won't speak together. And I was always afraid that I wasn't going to be enough, or that I was going to be alone, or that they would be hurt, or they would judge me, or they would think I was a bad guy because I didn't choose them. Yeah. And so in this relationship was the most interesting thing I'd ever done. It was a decision I made, and we both made. And I started reflecting on all the previous relationships. There was, let's say, sexual activity early in every relationship, right? And that sexual activity created a chemical bond of this feels good and there's great connection, and there was no conversation about values or vision or lifestyle. It was, we're having fun. This is a great time. We're experiencing life together, and we've got this chemical bond. And this time I said, listen, there's not going to be any of that, and we can hang out, and we spent, I mean, when I say there wasn't any of that, I mean, my friends are like in shock, especially my guy friends. I'm going to get vulnerable here, but it was almost 3 months. I spent 40 nights next to her without that activity going on. And talk about self-discipline for me as someone who's driven by, who wants that a lot.
Sure.
I was just like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it until I find out like where this is going. And if we are in alignment on our values and our vision, which you could call roles and responsibilities towards your vision in life. And so again, I feel great, right? Even with all this happening, it doesn't mean like it's going to be happy forever and ever.
Right. That's just the realistic version.
Who knows? Who knows what can happen? But I feel the most at peace. It feels incredible. And I feel like I'm laying a foundation, brick after brick, of possibilities of something greater than doing the things in reverse that I've always done. So it's been a beautiful experience, but it was not easy. And I had to break certain habits. So